Hello, hello, hello. Don Reinhardt here, running late, but I'm here. Whew, what a day. I am here for the Sunday reading from the book called I See You. Yes, I do see you. By a writer by the name of Julie Lee. So this is a book about how compassion and connections save lives. Well, hi there. Thanks for joining, Christy. And hello there. Tina, how are you? And Renessa. Thanks for joining, guys. So sorry, I am going to wear my glasses today for the reading. It does make it a lot easier since this is not a makeup live, although I do have makeup on. Yeah, because I went running around today. But my hair has gotten flat. That's what happens when you're busy. I'm so glad you're good. Now, this follows the same rules as my normal lives that I do throughout the week. If you would like to shine this, which is rhyming with care in the bottom left-hand corner, I do a drawing at the end of the month, and I do full-size product giveaways. If you have joined and you see that red button, you are catching this chapter reading live. I do try to get through my chapter, and then I would like to stay on for any conversation that anybody might be willing to talk about afterwards, because several of these chapters do come up with some incredible subjects to talk about. Hello, Robin. Thank you for joining, and thank you for joining, Laura. All right, guys, let's get going. We are on chapter 6, and this one is called Replacing Comparison. So we won't be distracted by comparison if we are captivated with purpose. By Rob Goff. Staying in our lane. When I first learned to drive, I had a bad habit of driving whatever direction my eyes were looking at. When I looked left, my hands on the steering wheel automatically shifted to the left too, causing me to drift into the lane next to me. My driver's ed teacher swore at me a lot. I realized quickly that if I wanted to get a driver's license, I was going to have to observe the traffic around me without driving into it. I had to focus on staying in my own lane to drive at my destination safely. We are each driving in our own lane, in our own life's path, and we need to stay in our own lane too, to avoid accidents. What does it look like to stay in our own lane? I was inspired by an experience my friend had last year. Oops, skipped a page. Charity and her husband were meeting with an oncologist in the cancer wing of the hospital. They had just received news that confirmed her husband's cancer was incurable and he would die. As she wept, she heard a noise. She strained to listen. Then she realized what she was hearing, the sound of a bell. It's tradition for a cancer patient to ring the ceremonial bell when they complete their cancer treatment. The bell symbolizes hope and joy that they have finished. But Charity was losing her husband to cancer, while someone else was beating it. She took a breath, and she said, "Stay in your own lane, Charity." And she kept telling herself that. Charity chose in that moment to be grateful for the time she had with her husband, instead of becoming bitter by drifting into someone else's story. The best kind of cheerleader. You know, sometimes cheerleaders get a bad rap. But one of my best friends is a former high school cheerleader, and she had made me a believer of the power of rooting for others. She's genuinely happy for people, and she means it. When I need to be reminded that I can do hard things, I call her. There is a tendency among humans to feel insecure about themselves when another stands out. I have seen the tendency in myself, but I don't see it in my friend. When Rob and I built a house, she was ecstatic for our new adventure, while she herself was squished in a 2-bedroom apartment with 3 kids and a husband. She never made the news of our upgraded living space an opportunity to complain about, sorry guys, my eyes water, that's what happens, allergies. Okay, she never ever complained because of the news of our upgraded living space, and she didn't take the opportunity to complain about her small home. I've asked myself, how does she feel happy for other people without putting herself down in the process? It took me a few years, but I eventually found my answer. She feels genuine happiness for others because she's confident in her own choices. She stays in her own lane and she lives with intention. She knows that she is supposed to be different. She doesn't compare herself to others because she knows she's not supposed to be like them. She found a solution to one of the great thieves of joy and one of the most common causes of dissatisfaction: comparison. Why, even as adults, do we struggle so hard with comparison? Shouldn't we have outgrown it already? Some of us struggle with comparison because we struggle with self-acceptance. We feel threatened when others don't. I have seen it in myself, but everything changes the day we realize we all have something unique to offer. Getting to the root of comparison. I fell into the trap of comparison at a young age. I remember I was watching talent shows as a kid, being amazed by the routines and numbers and feeling upset. I wanted to do what those people were doing on stage did. I wanted to dance like them, play like them, and I want an audience to applaud me like they did them. I didn't go tell the performers what a good job they did. I didn't want to. I was upset that I wasn't in their position. Looking back, I realized that my insecurities at talent shows weren't about dancing or playing a specific instrument. It was about craving a talent to call my own. I would love to go sit next to a 10-year-old, insecure Julie, on the gym floor of the Art City Elementary, and I would whisper to her, "You will stand on a stage one day, and people will clap for you." Feeling insecure is normal, but it might mean that we haven't valued or found what is making us different. Before I had kids, I enjoyed a teaching career. When Rob and I found out I was pregnant with our first baby, we made an intentional choice to pause my career. I wanted to stay home and take care of our child. During this transition, I felt like I was in the middle of an identity crisis. I switched from an environment full of people and compliments to an environment that rarely had either. I loved my baby. There was no issue bonding. However, loving the baby didn't change the loss I felt. Rob could tell I was off. I love being a mom. I guess I genuinely wanted to be the person at home taking care of my baby. But when I came home from working full-time, I gave up part of my life that brought me a sense of creativity and development. I hadn't found something to replace that part of my life, and it was showing. I was crankier and more judgmental of people. I hadn't found a way to fulfill my need for creativity as a stay-home parent. I was insecure and constantly comparing myself to others, and it resulted in me criticizing the people around me. Putting others down when we feel crappy about ourselves too is common but barf-worthy behavior. I like that. Barf-worthy behavior. Remember that word, that's a good one. Rob and I had the same conversation about every other month. Our exchanges were a little like this. Rob: so, what do you want to do for yourself? Me: what do you mean? Rob: well, we've talked about how you want to develop yourself in other ways. Me: do you think I'm just sitting home watching Netflix all day? Rob: no, I know you don't do that. Me: are you bothered that I'm not making any money? Rob: no, that's not what I'm saying. I just think you would be happier if you had space to develop yourself the way you did when you were teaching. Me: and then what would I, and when would I do that? I'm so tired and overwhelmed I can't even think about doing something like that. Who hasn't been there? These conversations often ended with me feeling like Rob didn't think being a stay-at-home parent was important, and him feeling like he couldn't say anything about the subject without offending me. The latter was correct. But he knew me. He knew I could be happier. Developing ourselves, slowly I started crawling out of this self-pity and took control of my life. I volunteered in classrooms while a friend watched my kids. I started writing outlines for my speeches I wanted to give. I created content to present in front of groups just like I had one with my own curriculum as a second grade teacher. And I began feeling like me again. When I started speaking and podcasting, I felt something wake up inside me. I was learning that I had strengths that were specific to me. I was spending less time comparing myself to others, and I learned that I wasn't supposed to be like them. I was meant to be different. We make space for happiness by developing ourselves, and that happiness rubs off on others. If we don't know how we want to develop ourselves, we can start by trying a few things. Elizabeth Gilbert, in her book Big Magic, said, curiosity only does one thing, and that is to give. And what it gives are clues on the incredible scavenger hunt of your life. When we make time to develop ourselves, I found it easier to be excited for the success of others and give genuine compliments. Developing talents keeps us busy and happy, leaving little room for worry about how we measure up to someone else. When we throw ourselves into our development, we get a natural boost of energy that comes from becoming the best version of ourselves. As author Chetan Bhagat said, be so busy, excuse me. I need to get a drink. Hang on just a second. There we go. Chetan Bhagat said, be so busy improving yourself that you have no time to criticize others. Two of my best friends have beautiful voices. In high school, I felt self-conscious to be part of this trio because I was the only one who didn't sing above average. But when I began developing in myself in other ways, I no longer felt self-conscious about my voice because I did know I was supposed to be different. Instead of trying to be somebody else, I found myself. Can you think of one thing you can work on to improve yourself? Opportunities for connection. Finding and developing talents helps us connect with others instead of comparing ourselves to them. We might be tempted to hide our abilities to try and protect others from comparing their weaknesses to our strengths. However, our strengths to help others enriches relationships and creates unique experiences. A talented artist in my neighborhood recently offered free watercolor class to her neighbors. I watched as the attendants laughed and made mistakes together, exploring a new skill. While the artist could have kept her talent a secret, she chose to create a bonding experience for others. When we get closer to people and recognize each other's humanity, we are less likely to compare and more likely to connect. If we use our abilities to help others, we honor the gifts we have been given. In my mind, developing our talents is showing gratitude for them. Gratitude. During a dark chapter of my life, a therapist gave me a simple homework assignment. Find and acknowledge perfect moments. If a song on the radio came on that I loved, or if I sniffed a familiar smell that brought back memories, my assignments were to recite these words: "This is a perfect moment." I felt a little robotic, but I did it. I did my homework. I recognized the perfect moments. While I was scared to say it out loud for fear I would jinx my progress, I did notice I began to feel sparks of hope just by saying and thinking it. This is a perfect moment. I started contemplating the possibility that I could be happy again. The more perfect moments I acknowledged, the smaller the gaps between them came. I was looking for reasons to be grateful, and they were everywhere. Gratitude brought me hope. Almost every religion and school of thought I have studied recognizes gratitude as a fundamental practice to unlock happiness. By choosing to be grateful, we can retrain our brain to ignore comparing what we don't have, to reach for gratitude for what we do have. I have learned that keeping up with the Joneses isn't nearly as fun as making a party all on my own. Robert Emmons, professor of psychology, wrote, "Research I've done has suggested that people who have high levels of gratitude have low levels of resentment and envy. Practicing gratitude can be keeping a gratitude journal where we write down something we're grateful for every day. It can be a prayer to a higher power. It could be recognizing a quiet moment. Gratitude changes our quality of life for the better, and it's an excellent replacement for comparison. When we rid ourselves of comparison, we are making room to see others so much better. Not just anything. I had the honor of meeting John Petz, an inspiring magician and speaker. I listened as he described an experience that changed the way he looked at comparison. John was asked by a friend to perform a magic show for a sick boy at a local hospital. A huge fan of magic, the boy wanted to meet David Copperfield, the magician, not the literary character. As David was unavailable, they called John. In his book, Significance in Simple Moments, John wrote, "How can I possibly compare to David Copperfield? I'm just a magician in Columbus, Ohio. I'm just a no-name performer, not a headline celebrity with his own Las Vegas show. He's a star. I'm just John Petts. What could I do that could compare to one of the world's greatest magicians? Despite his insecurities, John agreed to do the magic show for the sick child. At the hospital, the boy's tired eyes were filled with wonder as he watched John make balls disappear and cards move without a touch. The boy was especially amazed by John's final trick. John threw a deck of cards high in the air, and they all came tumbling down, except for a 7 of hearts, which the boy had privately chosen as the card. That stuck to the ceiling. John left the hospital room feeling inspired and full of love for that sick boy and his family. The boy passed away the following morning. The family buried the boy with the 7 of hearts tucked in his casket. John was told. To them, that symbolized the last happy moment they had together as a family. Ooh, sorry, it makes me a little teary-eyed. Woo! John writes, "I was just a local magician who didn't even want to go to the hospital that day. You're not just anything." John did not need to be David Copperfield to bring hope to a wonderful boy or a somber hospital room. He needed to be John, a man who was willing to use his talents to bring a smile to the face of a child. And that's exactly what he did. He now replaced the comparison eating at him, and he got to work, and he saw that boy. We are exactly who we are supposed to be. All we need to do is be willing to show up and offer what we are to the people who need us. Be offensive. Solely avoiding comparison doesn't get rid of it. We need to replace it with something better. Trying not to compare is defensive. Replacing comparison with developing ourselves or expressing gratitude is offensive. We can find our gifts. We can be thankful for what we have. As we do, we find it easier to be happier for others. We will see people as people, not as competitors. Last Christmas, my sister shamelessly told me she bought me the most perfect present ever. She was feeling no insecurities. She was confident in her talent for personalizing gifts. Her husband told me the same. "Ju, you are going to freak out when you see what we got you for Christmas." Their enthusiasm made me laugh. I felt loved, knowing they had put so much thought into this gift they chose. On Christmas morning, I opened the long-awaited present. The self-assured couple was right. They nailed it. The gift was a wooden plaque inscribed with a quote that puts comparison in its place. A quote by Theodore Roosevelt. "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails daring greatly. so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory or defeat. Got an itch. These words hang over my desk where I create. They watch me and keep me in check. We can't let comparison destroy us. We need the energy to pursue our own dreams. Then we can encourage others to do the same. And that is seeing them. We all feel insecure sometimes, and we might be tempted to judge others for being brave and for doing the things we don't have the guts to do. We might even feel threatened by their accomplishments. But we have our own talents to develop and our own song to sing. When we shed the comparison from our mindset, we are set up to help others succeed. Instead of seeing people for what they can't do, we give them confidence in what they can do. Someone who doesn't compare themselves to others inspires people to shine in their own light. The bottom line: comparison keeps us from seeing others with the compassion and connecting with them. We avoid the crippling effects of comparison by practicing gratitude and developing our own gifts by discarding comparison. We are ready to help others do the same. Wow. That is the end of chapter 6, and next week we are going to move on to part 3, who they need. Okay, so I will mark this so we can come back to it. Now, does anybody want to talk about what we talked about in here? You know, you'll often hear, and let me take my glasses off because now I don't need to read. Of course, my eyes have been watering from allergies. I need to shower again. It's crazy. When I go outside and it's been sunny, I think the pollen and stuff gets on me, and it just makes my nose run and my eyes water like crazy. Okay, anyway, my eyelashes are now sticking to my face. You will hear people talk about a lot when you're in direct sales about staying in your own lane. But you know, a lot of people don't, and comparisons are huge. And that's not just for people in direct sales. We can often do that. Somebody goes live better than I do. Somebody does their makeup better than I do. Somebody can always find the perfect words and I can't, right? Have you ever said things like that? Because I know a lot of people that have, and I've even done it. And I don't like comparing myself to others because I do know, and I know this deep inside me, what I have to offer is very unique for Dawn, right? It's me. What do I have to offer? I have inspiration. I have overcoming, right? I have reading a book to you guys every Sunday, you know, a chapter. I don't compare, and I do want to build people up because I honestly am happy for them. You know, that's why I think it's important to lift other people up. Don't compare yourselves. Don't, because that is the creator of some pretty awful feelings. Some pretty awful feelings. And when I've talked about gratitude, that is something I try to do. I'm not as good at doing it at night because sometimes I fall asleep too fast. But when I wake up in the morning, I do talk about what I am grateful for. The more you practice gratitude, honestly, the happier you will be. It is so true. I believe in that more than I believe in a lot of things because it happened to me, right? Be grateful. Practice your gratitude. I am grateful for my family. I am grateful for my friends. I am grateful for my job, for the roof over my head. I am grateful for my new medicine that helps me more. I am grateful for the sun in the sky. I'm grateful that I could sit outside and hear those birds singing this morning. I am grateful for the companionship of my cats who annoy me half the time, but they love me, right? Gratitude, practice it. So seriously, does anybody have any thoughts about this chapter? If not, I will bid you adieu. I will go get my dinner ready. It's out and ready for me to make. I got it out. Well, I didn't really get it out. This chapter has made me realize that I need to be me. I often feel like I'm not good enough, but I have things to offer. Sweetie, you do. You are beautiful. You have an infectious smile. I go to your page every day to read your posts. And that makes me teary-eyed, sorry. I've been emotional the last 2 days. I found myself crying last night, and it was crazy. I had my fall down, fall apart moment. Sorry, guys, I do get emotional. But yes, Tina, you are amazing, and you do have so much to offer. Kenitra, so do you, beautiful. So do you. This chapter was a good one. It was. And guys, sorry, I'm going to keep crying. That's crazy. Hey, look, my mascara's not running. And I don't have tissues in here. I have makeup wipes, but it's a damp one because I used it to clean off my hands earlier. I touched up my eyes because they have been running so much when I'm outside. But anyway, it is a phenomenal book, and it's got some great, this is the one thing that made me crave human connection, that made me realize, though I practiced gratitude, and I have practiced manifestation for years. This made me more consistent at it. This made me realize I needed to be, right? And this is, I think it's the third time reading this book because I've read it. I'm pretty sure I read it twice before. And that's what made me realize I should read it with you guys because, I don't know, if it can have a profound effect on me, it can have a profound effect on anybody, right? It can. And it's with COVID and with everything that's gone on, we have lost connections. So I don't know about you guys, but I crave those connections. I want to see people for who they are. I want to get to know them. I want to see people. I know, and I am so grateful that you're alive too, Tina. Seriously, it has been such a blessing getting to know you. It has. God dang it, I'm going to go get all teary-eyed again. Here they go. But and don't get me wrong, gratitude is not, it's not an emotional thing, and it's not something that typically makes you sad, but guys, this is it was kind of a deep chapter. It was. And it makes you think about how bad we can feel when we're not doing things the most healthy way we should, right? So if that's the last thing I can leave you guys with tonight, be you and realize that you are unique and you're special and you absolutely, absolutely have amazing things to offer. So shine, shine. Be who you are meant to be. Oh gosh, guys, I'm going to have to get tissue and blow this nose before it starts running on me. Thank you so much for joining on this chapter. I absolutely love and adore you guys. And I will see you guys next Sunday. I will make sure I'm not running late because that was a little chaotic. it was definitely a little chaotic to run in here and do this. So I will definitely make sure that if I got running around, I do it a little bit earlier so I don't miss my 5 p.m. Mountain chapter reading. Okay? That way I can be there for you guys and do it on time. Why not, right? All right. Now I got some meowers. They're ready for dinner too. Everybody, please. I put my glasses on because I look like a crying fool. All right, guys. Please, as always, they're sticking to my face again. Stay happy, healthy, and safe until I see you guys again. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I don't know what time, because I'm doing a barbecue. Maybe during the barbecue you guys see me. I don't know. Okay, I love you guys. Stay safe and have a great